Welcome to Living in Alaska. I'm Ken Hagler, and welcome to Three Things. This is my weekly vlog where I talk about three things that relate to life, home, and enhancing your understanding and knowledge of real estate in Alaska. So today as we come together, I got in my truck today and got greeted with the first evidence of snowfall. Yeah, we got a little dusting early this morning, so that's on the ground. So we kind of broke that barrier. We are just into the first week of October. Watch winter start to creep its way down. Some people cringe at that. I know it's just part of how we're gonna have to do things. And that in part kind of relates to what I wanna talk about today as we talk about enhancing life. And the thing that really jumped out to me this week, talking with a few people and talking with my son as well, is that sometimes we get the idea that because bad things happen, God's taken vacation somehow. And the reality of that is that's not how it works at all. I was a pastor full-time for almost 30 years. And in that time, I had an opportunity to go through a lot of things. I actually wrote a book, Life Sucks, Seek God, where I came out of my experience as a husband and a widower, having lost my first wife to cancer, the struggles that I went through, that life is hard. And we got to take the rose-colored glasses off as far as that goes, this idea that it's supposed to be easy, and this idea that, I hear about sometimes by people saying, hey, everybody should get this, everybody should get that. We should be able to do all this. Well, that's not the way life works. It's never worked. And as much as we are being called upon and should help other people, we have a responsibility to do certain things in our own lives. And part of that is realizing that life is hard. Even giving away things and providing for folks certain things doesn't take away the pain. Case in point, okay? Life happens. There's nothing that would have prevented, particularly, other than my not doing anything and living in a bubble, losing part of my finger, okay? It wouldn't have happened. So the idea that life is supposed to be easy is crazy. And life itself gives us that every single day. It's hard. We make a choice to get up out of bed and do the things that we need to do. So it's important that we look at that, and that's gone back for centuries. Looking at, as a pastor, I look back in the book of Psalms and the book of Job are the two that I look at. And the evidence is right there. For centuries, people have been dealing with difficulties. I got a chance to go to Greece and walk the streets and in places that have been around since 6000 BC. And people have been dying. People have been going through upheaval with governments. People have gone through difficulties for centuries. Doesn't stop. So taking away that idea that life is going to be easy and putting the reality in that life is hard changes our perspective. And it's kind of like a workout. Every day is a workout. And a few weeks ago, I talked about and shared this idea that I had when I was waking up in the morning. Go get the day. I know people will refer to seize the day. That's where it came. No, it didn't. It came from my own mind as my alarm was going off at 5 o'clock. I didn't want to get up to work out. And my mind said, go get the day. Okay, life is going to be tough. It's not going to be easy. Go get the day. And that's my encouragement to you. Go. One thing, just pick one thing. Whatever's hard today, put that at the very top. Take care of it. Make sure that one thing gets done this day to help you enhance life. Now let's talk for a minute about enhancing home. And I'm going to take a moment and we're going to go out to the electrical panel. So this is the time of year where we're going back inside, and sometimes this is a great time of year to be doing on inside projects in your home. So if you're doing some electrical work, I'm going to recommend two things. First off, if you're going to be doing something, always make sure that you turn off the breakers. And when you do so, leave a good note that is bright and attentive to let people know, do not turn that breaker back on. Oh my gosh, because that's the last thing you want to know is having shocking experience. I know, bad dad joke. The other thing to think about too is if you're going to be working with the breakers or checking an electrical system, and my finger being what it is, Do so with one hand in your back pocket before you touch anything if you can. The reason being because that way you do not complete the circuit. If you're touching the electrical line and you might be touching a metal pole or something, a pipe or anything like that, you complete the circuit. So keep a hand in your back pocket if you can to keep yourself safe as you do electrical work this winter. All right, so let's talk now about enhancing real estate and the things that really have impacted us here recently. Thankfully, we avoided a government shutdown. Yes, there are things that need to happen. I don't necessarily agree with the fiscal irresponsibility of our government, but that is something that certainly keeps things on a level playing field and people don't have to get panicked. Now, of course, right after that, the ousting of Kevin McCarthy as Speaker of the House happens, which then has people crying, it's chaotic. Oh my gosh, we're going to be thrown into chaos now. But we're not, because that's the Constitution allows for that. It's not like something happened that is against the rules. Nobody broke any rules. There's not any overthrowing here. This is actually how power can transition within the House and the way that it's supposed to work. So don't get in and listen to people talk about that. That's really not how this is to be done. That's actually, it happened according to the way government power can transition in the House. And so we're going to see that happen, and we'll see what happens there. So the two things then, actually three things that I want to bring to the point and make points about today is first, that we got reports back that job openings are at 9.6 million in the United States. So that's higher than expected. And here in Alaska, we are hiring. I have a video about that, a short that I did, and a lot of people have asked about that. I'm going to have the links that I put out there that are specific to Alaska, both pipeline jobs as well as jobs throughout the state that are available through Alaska Works job site. So you can stay up to date on those things and check those out. And so I'll have that in the comment section below. The other two things are related to selling property. And one of the things to be aware of, particularly in Alaska and throughout the United States, is that during the fall season, prices tend to dip a little bit. That does not mean that the market's going to crash. That just is how the market goes. Here in Alaska, people are trying to sell as snow's getting ready to come in, as I noted at the beginning. So be aware of that. So if you're planning to sell, this is a good time to prepare a clean home, a home that is move-in ready, and to offer at the median or maybe just below the median value to bring in offers that are actually going to be possibly even more competitive than you imagine. Also, a quick warning for sellers, and this comes from other real estate experts in the market, and that is that buyers might test the resolve and the motivation of sellers by giving disrespectful offers that are incredibly too low. Make sure as a buyer you do offer a respectful bid, an offer onto a home. As you think about your contract, and sellers, make sure that you are aware of the value of your home. So I hope these things are helpful for you as you consider your life, your home, and real estate in Alaska. Make sure you like, subscribe, and whack that bell icon like we do salmon every summer here in Alaska.